What's the beauty of life? That's questions. We have been insanely good at asking questions and not specifically great at answering them, but we have done our best. All the books that you have ever read, all the books that you see here, that you were taught, they are the result of minds that try to understand the world, that try to understand their own subjective or conscious experience. So, what does this mean? Well, everything, all the theories that you were ever taught, are our, let's say, best understanding of how the world functions, best understanding of how things work. Some things can be proven, and they were, other things are just purely theoretical. There are no ways of proving those things, or we haven't found a way to do so yet. But why I'm saying this is because there is no way in which you should behave according to a certain standard or according to a certain law. And of course, majority of people, if you ask them what you should do in a certain situation, they might offer you the best advice. They might offer you something that's common knowledge, right? But there isn't a reason why you shouldn't be allowed to get outside of that zone, right? Nothing of, let's say, common knowledge could have helped the theory of relativity come to mind, because the previous theory worked quite well with certain exceptions, right? And if you'd have been stuck to that, well, guess what? We would have never come to the theory of relativity. But we still need the theory of everything. We still have a lot of things that we need to discover. But the whole idea, the reason why I actually filmed this video was because you need to understand that you might try to base your life according to certain rules, or according to certain expectations, or according to what some famous people said, or according to something that is external of you. And there isn't any reason why that is better for you than just by doing what's intuitive to you, than listening to your intuitions and to everything that you know up to this point. And of course, your intuitions, it's the nurture versus nature debate. They are heavily influenced by your nurture, your environment, everything that you have um, have learned and read. I have here two books actually from Sapolsky. He says that everything basically is just he's a materialist, right? He just says that everything is determined, and you could basically know how everything is going to unfold if you can measure every kind of atom interaction, everything else. So, and of course, this is not to reduce his idea to that. He's actually the most fascinating materials that I have found. But there are other people like Chalmers who are dualists, who still believe that there is something else. You have the zombie argument that, hey, there can be a person who's conceivable to be identical as you. So you can look at me, like, that's who I am, and you can think of somebody who's identical to myself, but you can conceive that person without subjective knowledge. It's not if it's possible, if it's in any way a reality, but it's metaphysically conceivable that there can be this kind of, let's say, zombie, and it's not being used as in the typical let's say, Hollywood movie. It's just me, molecule by molecule, that's being replicated. So maybe you can get a physical trait, right? So imagine if you replicate me molecule by molecule. And what Chalmers says is that, see, you could do that, but if you'd ask the creator of myself, or whatever, the simulator of myself, you could ask him, they would probably tell you that, wait, there is still something left, it's consciousness, and we need to put that into place. So that's oh wow, I reached the hard problem of consciousness from a make or a feel good video. But the idea was that everything that you are doing, everything that you are experiencing, everything that you are studying through, are works of other people that were just like you. They're works of people who didn't know necessarily, okay, maybe they knew better in certain areas, with the knowledge that we had up until that point. But your intuition, with their intuition, is as strong. um, there is no way, or there should be no way, that somebody should dictate your life, as long as you are not infringing on any sort of liberties of other people, or you're not harming anybody. There isn't any reason for you to feel bad for doing certain things that maybe you're passionate about, for doing certain things that maybe you feel strongly that that's where you should put your time in. There isn't a way, and I'm saying this because social media tells you otherwise. It teaches you that you need to follow a path. It teaches you that you need to follow a certain route to success, a certain route to obtain something, and that something is more or less desirable. There are many ways, there are many routes. You can make sure that if you stick with one thing that you're completely obsessed in a good way, in a positive way, and you plow through it and you try to find let's say solutions to questions that you ask yourself, well, you can be sure that there are going to be results. And with that in mind, I hope you're well, I hope you're doing great, and we're gonna hear each other again soon.